Good morning, everybody. I'm here. I love hearing that epidemic sound instrumental. It's so soothing. I lost track of myself. Let's see if that came over. Yeah, it is. Yeah, wait to see this. The Boeing 777X takes off almost vertically like a fighter jet. Apparently, with the size of the aircraft and with the size of the engines, that the lift created by the wings with the flaps down is exceeded by the huge power of those fan jet engines. That would be, I would not want to be a passenger in that plane if the pilot did that. Hopefully this is a test flight. I'm looking at the larger article on this iPad. It's in a Dubai. It was a Dubai air show, so it's like demonstrating. Yeah, it was an air show, so they were. Let's take a look further here. Yep, that's all the news fit to print on that story. All right, I'm gonna wet my whistle. Trump is getting ready to sign the Laken bill. Went through the House, went through the Senate, and now it's going on the president's desk. I think it is the first piece of legislation. I think it's the first one. There's a story that keeps on giving. Defense Secretary pulls Trump critic General Milley's security clearance and removed his protective detail. In other words, so when he walks around the hallowed halls of the Pentagon, his protective detail has been pulled from Milley, so he doesn't have protective detail. If he walks out of the Pentagon to go get his car, he's going to likely drive himself. I don't know if he's going to have chauffeurs driving him around. It's a government car. I don't know. We haven't heard what they're going to do with the car yet. I'm sure with the protective detail, he's got a couple of SUVs following him. Maybe one in front and one behind. That's over. So you're not going to see much of General Milley. If you remember, he was the man in charge when they ran out of what do you call it? Was it Iraq? He removed all the troops before he removed all the American citizens. So there were a lot of people left, in at the airport site. It's also the site of where I believe 13 Americans were killed with a person wearing a vest that took his own life. Trump deported 200 Colombians. And of course, the Colombian officials saying, no, they weren't criminals. All right, no problem. Take them right into your society. They will not be permitted back in the U.S. iOS 18.3 is now available for the general population. Here the article says, Hegseth takes action against Trump's foe, General Mark Milley. Trump says he's a stupid man. You know, why they had to get out by a certain hour, for God's sakes. It's crazy. So Trump called him stupid. Stupido. Serving under at the pleasure of Joe Biden. There's a picture of Pete Hegseth somewhere in the Pentagon. Politico says there's chaos in the army. I don't think so. There's probably cheers of that someone's got their back. These generals, they get they lose sight of what they're doing and from where they came. Half of wealthy Gen Zers and millennials admit to digital shoplifting, rationalizing it with inflation and influencer hacks. Digital shoplifting. Now, I can tell you that yours truly does not know how to digitally shoplift, to take items without paying for them. Trump's press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, compares Biden administration to drunken sailors. according to The Independent. I watched a lot of her. I thought she did a great job. She didn't need a 4-inch thick binder to look things up when being questioned by the audience. She gave off, answers from the hip. Just shot the answers back from the hip with knowledge and forethought. Image of Musk post comparing MAGA to Nazi Germany. Oh, come on. That's crazy. Look at this mosaic tiles. Imagine. This is on the wall. There you go. Where do ideas come from? The year is young, and we are still full of energy and ambition, imagining what is to come and what will happen. Imagination is the hallmark of creativity as we marvel at works of art, scientific discoveries, or technological innovations. One question keeps coming back. How did they think of it? What inspired them? True original ideas can seem to be pulled out of thin air. We're human beings, or little computers in our head, biological computers. Our thought is channeled through all the experiences and everything that we've seen, over our lifetime, up to the moment when you come up with an inspiration, which is basically all the computations of everything that you've seen and heard and read and viewed. And is it really original thought or not? That is the question. That's why the SEC why we have patents, why there are patents, why there are trademarks, copyrights. Patents are generally for things, and copyright is for writings. I created a book, sold it to Pearson, the nation's largest educational publisher, and in exchange for royalties off book sales. So every time a book sold, I got a royalty, and it's a percentage of the gross sale. So it was a $100 sale. Jimmy made $15, and I got a royalty check from Pearson every 90 days. They would add it all up and send me a royalty check. The books were in the FAU bookstore, so students had to acquire the book. There were times where the class was, the charge of the class included the book, and sometimes the price students paid did not include the book. They could buy the book at the bookstore if they wanted it. There was a laboratory manual. It was highly recommended they get the book because, and not because I wrote it. It was quite helpful. And then following along in the class, what I was doing and what I was talking about in my class of digital photography and post-image processing. Yeah, that was the gist of the book. You can see it online if you're interested. What book they say. You can go to 4161100.com, 416-1100.com, and you'll see this. There's a bunch of email addresses and all that, but you can keep pages down, and these are albums of images, or it may lead down to subdirect, like FAU sports. They're not all the pictures that we took, which this one button underneath it is 50,000 FAU sports images that Jimmy and Marilyn took and published on this website, FAU Sports. So I'll touch that. I have an iPad with touchscreen, and see now FAU football, FAU basketball, swim and dive team, FAU soccer, FAU tennis, softball, FAU cheer and dance, and FAU golf, and FAU baseball. Oh, that's a mouthful. Well, just now in this button over here, it says FAU football, the first one. They're not in any particular order. They were put in the order of the creation of the gallery or the album. So you can see the FAU player with the ball tucked in his arm. So if I touch this, ding, now it goes to, now you got FAU football, you got Howard Schwarzenegger, and then you got all these, galleries of all the home games. Ouch. Cut my finger. So you can see all the home games. There's the coach holding up a trophy. FAU football versus FIU. So win, loss. So this football game was 52-24 on November 18th, 2017. A lot of FAU, FIU. Nice picture of the helmet. I tried to use, this was pretty cool. These were skydivers that jumped out of an airplane at 8,000 feet. And they steered with their body, so that when they opened up the chute, they would come right down in the middle of FAU Stadium. And look at that picture. I love that picture. Yeah. So there's a full moon, apparently. Yeah. Took a picture of the full moon. You can hit this one right there. And you can see it's a supermoon, according to what I just saw. Yeah. It's probably an FAU contributor or something. He got the football. I know this gentleman in the red. He's like in the FAU sports, like the promotions department. He doesn't control the teams or anything like that. He, deals with all these people and dealing with donations and whatever. So I took some pictures with him and his it's a Ford dealership. You can see you got Ford hats and Ford shirts. The indication of the owl with the fingers like that. Thumbs up. They go through the whole litany of posing for photographs that live on forever. So all these shots when the people are on the field during an intermission, when the TV coverage is on commercial now. They're on the 15-yard line usually. A lot of times you can tell who you can press on the image. I can't expand it. These are, I'm paging through with my finger, going through. That was a nice shot. Good looking cheerleader with the others out of focus. Fine focus on the little decal that's on her cheek. There's one of the guys that came out of the sky. And they're serious people. He has a GoPro attached to his helmet up there. You pull this, you can shoot. You see he has protective eye. That visor comes down so that when they're dropping out of the sky, traveling at 170 miles an hour, vertical speed down, and he pulls the chute open, and see there he's rolling up his chute in a very special way, so that they. This is like Family Day. This is the parents and siblings of one of the FAU players. That's a Vietnam War pin. He's actually holding that upside down. So, there we go. Vietnam War veteran. That's if you open up that. That's what it looks like. up close. And the pictures tell a story. And they're recapitulating with other veterans. Yeah. You know, when you sign your name and you go into the military, you never know where you're going to end up. You don't know in advance. If anybody tells you in advance, they're not telling you honestly for sure, because the chain of command determines where you go and where you're deployed. You know, you have to go through basic training and, you know, push-ups, sit-ups, climb over barriers, you know, learn how to shoot your rifle, shoot your handgun that is issued to you, property of the United States military. There you go. So this is a big day for veterans that are being recognized and televised at FAU Stadium. Remember, this is, I think, 2017. The score here is 17-17. Halftime. 10 minutes to go until they start the second half. It's always nice taking pictures of the electronic board. This is in the early days, because I would normally square that off and make it rectangular, irrespective of the fact that we took it at an angle, and that's why it's not squared off, and I didn't fix it up. I'm paging through these rather quickly. Anyway, so we hit the back arrow. There we go. Now it's going back. So now you can see all these pictures. Yeah, you can go down and look at them all. And when you see one you like, then you can touch on it. Lots of veteran pictures. They're nice little kitties. Jumping around. Proud that they're in the FAU Stadium with all the camera people. Merrill and I being... we would both take pictures of these, right? You know, these kind of pictures. To make sure we got everyone's eyes open and all that. So we take 2 or 3 pictures apiece, and one of us probably got the shot right. And then, you know, I assigned Marilyn, you know, over on the sideline somewhere, and I would be on the other. I'd be at midfield, maybe, to receive these guys dropping out of the sky. And I used this third picture on the top. I think I used that as the opening. You know, they got little sparklies that they're released. Yeah. Here they're releasing sparklies as they fell out of the sky. It was pretty good They're coming in ready to jump onto the. Whoops. There's Jimmy and Marilyn with our camera equipment. Yeah. Marilyn's got a pretty good sized camera there. Nice lens. I think that's a 70 to 200 lens. F4, I think. There you go. FAU celebrates veterans in 2016. You can see that shot right there. Here's the aerial shot of the stadium. Looking down, and they had a flag opened up. You know. You know, the FAU Sports and Information Department was very good in making sure they had shots like this. You know, taken from drones, you know, drone imaging. All right. So we can go back further. There we go. And these are all the different football games. There's a memorial for Howard Schnellenberger. And you hit this go home button. See, go home. Press that. And you're right back to here. If you ever get lost, just hit the home button. All right, I was talking about my book. Got waylaid and delayed. So you keep on coming down here. This is on the home page. And you see here's something I was working on. Principles of forensic digital photography. Yeah. No one has written a book with that title. And here's, this is the book cover of the book that I wrote, and this companion CD-ROM with the 210 images that we provided the students. So I press on that. There's some images that some FAU students provided. This press this. Sign up early. So that was, this is, you can read about the class here. That's the back of the book. That's the front of the book. That's inside pages. This is a letter from FAU saying your request for adjunct faculty status with the Charles E. Schmidt College of Science at FAU came to a vote during the department's September meeting. I'm pleased to inform you that the department voted unanimously to instate you as adjunct faculty. See the date there? October 2003. John Harlan, thank you very much. He gave that to me. in a meeting at his office, and he was, there was a little preparation for this. In September, I met several of the other PhDs, department heads. All the department heads get together and have a meeting. So I had to meet several others because Harlan said there are 2 or 3 others that do all the talking in these meetings. So let's have you with a personal meeting with them so that they won't have, you can answer all their questions outside of the meeting. And that way they won't have much to say during the meeting other than voting in the affirmative. So here's one of the pages in the book where I named myself Florida Atlantic University, the Center for Geology Information, Department of Geology and Geography, Charles E. Schmidt College of Science. And so I was adjunct faculty and managing director of Boca Raton Digital LLC, a limited liability company. And that right there, Pearson Education. And they created an ISBN number. There's some news. Let's see. I was wondering if this exposed some more pages in the book. No. Going back to that. That's the back cover. Hey, it's Marilyn. You want to be on the back cover? I'll put you on there. You're holding the camera, maybe that picture of the 2 of us. So I wrote this. I did all of this. So this is like one of the lessons, my class, the 12th class had to do with layers and curves. There's a picture of one of our dogs. There's the ISBN number. That's important. There it is. Yep. That 9 is included. 978-053-675. That specifies this, so they scan that and the book comes up, first as a sale item. Pearson Custom Publishing. $7 p.m. College of Science. Room SO 3181. I don't remember that being the room number. But there it is again. Social Sciences building. There's a news article. Boca. The Boca News came to our classroom, and there's Marilyn. There's Marilyn. She's a beauty. There's number 4 son right there. That's Daniel. Matt Horvath. Jimmy pointing something. Yeah, these photos. You know, the Boca News took for their publication. They wrote this article. This is the article. Boca News. And they write. This is all written by staff writer Nicole Jenkins. Young lady came out, and you know, I gave her stuff, and she wrote this article. 10-week course focuses on. Pardon the expression. Focuses on. Yeah, fine. Focus on. Yeah, see. The students: Daniel Wilson, Matthew Horvath. Marilyn Wilson's in here somewhere too. That's Matthew, Daniel, Matthew, and Jimmy. There's Marilyn. There you go, Marilyn Wilson. Learn how to use Photoshop. Here's a picture of the kitty. And we're doing something with it. Yes. Students, either Jimmy or students, provide these digital images, which we then can augment, digitally enhance. There's Jeff Horton, who's a student of mine also. I think that's Cameron. I think that's Cameron and his lens. I don't know if it's my lens or his lens. I always have a lens shade on there. He doesn't have a lens shade on there. So my theory is the only light you want hitting the lens is the light from the subject. You don't want light to come in sideways and strike the glass. That'll tend to wash out. You know, here's a shot with one of my bigger lenses. That's Jimmy right there, kind of aiming, you know, at the photographer. That was the gentleman that came out for that one. I guess Jim Ferrer. There you go. Florida Capital Bank's Jim Wilson, who teaches a course at FAU. Yes, I was. When I could get an article in the newspaper, the class was full. But I had to get in the living section of the newspaper. So we go all the way to the top here and hit home. There we go. And you get back to here. You hit contact us. What do you get when you touch that? That gives you, you put your email address in there, the subject, and write a message, and hit send. And that gets directly to Jimmy. Visit our popular FAU blog. Here's gifts and photo products. Let's go there. There you go. Wow. So you have all kinds of, you can have these things put in a book, digital downloads, show all products. There we go. So you got large refrigerator magnets. There's small ones. Yeah. Coasters, with your photos. You select your photo and key tags, wood, acrylic ornaments, 16 by 16 pillows, glacier block. You can have the prints and it's wrapped around. You stick those on the wall, and it's about 3/4 of an inch thick. 11 ounce and 15 ounce mugs. If you want your pictures on the mugs, if I touch that, does that go anywhere? Probably not. No. So this tells you all the different things, all the different printing you can do, the different size pictures. We have a complete inventory of, of the print sizes and so forth. You select that when you look at the pictures. So we have to hit the back button. You'll see a little blue progress bar up here. So when you touch this, there you go. If you don't have that progress bar, it's not going. Hit home. Oh, there we go. Now we're back to this is the front page. I wrote 700 or 800, over 700 articles. Visit our popular blog site. Let's go there. Touch that button. It's WordPress. FAU4U2.wordpress.com. It's a slow connection. See the progress blue bar? It's inching across. The WordPress. There you go. There's Jimmy with that top photo. And then all these, you touch on any one of those, and it takes you. So here's an article I wrote about. Have you taken your shake today? It's a milkshake kind of a product. It's not milk. So, and you can see over here on the side, there are articles. The Tesla Model S, 125 kilowatt battery. Let's touch that one. We have this. There you go. So here's the article. So you can reverse pinch so you can read the article. They don't have a 125 kilowatt battery, I don't believe. I was basically saying, Tesla, you need a 125 kilowatt battery so you can get over, over the 100, over the 400 mile range. So all this graphic is done by Jimmy, not Tesla. Here's a diagram of when they say the 2170 cell. The 21 is the millimeters of diameter. 21 millimeters across, and then the 70, take that last zero off, see 2170, that's the height of the battery, of the individual cells. Yeah. So that's a 145% greater volume when you look at that cylinder than the 18650 cell, because one is 16,540 cubic millimeters, and the largest cell, the 2170 cell, is 24,245. So generally speaking, if you've got more cubic millimeters in that cylinder, because they packed that cylinder, with a spool of anode, cathode, and electrolyte, which creates the battery. So just in terms of the fact that the 2170 cell is bigger, it's bigger by 145%, in volume. So I applied that to a 100 kilowatt battery, to come up with a 420 mile range. That's what I'm talking about in that paragraph. And so I'm saying, recall, see, this is important right here. It's very important. Remember, recall a 420 mile of rated range, EPA rated range, becomes really 360 miles of real range, because they don't want you to touch the top 5%. They don't want you to touch the bottom 5%. So that's the 20 and the 20. And the other 20 miles is because you're gonna run your air conditioner. You got your radio on. So there's 20 miles of range that's eaten up, by driving this other equipment, by powering this other equipment in your car. So and this is very conservative, because, if you look at the manuals that are provided by Tesla, they don't want you routinely every day charging the battery to 100%. They'd rather you charge the battery to 80 or 90%. So if it's 90%, that means you're not getting the top 42 miles worth of range. If you got a rated range of 420, and they don't want you to use routinely the top 10% or the bottom 10%, that's 80 miles of range. And if you apply my number of 20 miles of range, to power all your equipment and your security stuff, at night and so forth, you got 40, 40, and 40. That's 120. You take 120 from 420, that brings your real range quite a bit lower than the 420 rated range. Yep. So here's your typical 100 kilowatt battery. Now they do make these. Anyway, so the same kind of math is applied. There's the 75 kilowatt battery. They have that. Here's your supercharger charging profile. So you can charge up to 80%, takes 40 minutes. But the last 20% takes 75 minutes. Well, you don't want to sit there, in a charging station, for an hour and a half. So this is like if you plugged in your home, rather than a supercharger. So there are the two batteries. Remember the 18650 and the 2170 cell. So when you look at them, it's hard for you to think of the difference in that battery size. Here's one in the palm of your hand. I labeled that 18650. I wrote that on there. So here's the 2170 cell in someone's hand, and I put this label on the battery, so in case the caption for the photograph from the image got separated from the image itself, you can still see that's the 2170 cell. Which is, a good bit, bigger, than the 18650. 65 millimeters, is different than 70 millimeters. And you got 21 millimeters in diameter rather than 18. So that difference in diameter and the difference in the height is 145% greater volume. And just as for argument's sake for the article, that would give you 145% greater range. When I wrote this article, there were 160,000 gas stations all over the United States. That's only United States. And I think there are 20,000 charging terminals and the superchargers around the country. About 20,000 of them. There's a cross section of one of the motors. I go back to the real range scenario, and these are the choices that you make when you're ordering your car, which you have to put it. You have to put it, so everything's online. You have to put a $250 non-refundable deposit when you order the car. And then, 10 days or 2 weeks later, Tesla will get back to you and ask you to come up with another couple of thousand, depending on what your financing arrangements are that you've asked for. There you go. There's a 100 kilowatt battery. That's what that 100 is written on the wall, supposedly. Yeah. So I talk about all these different batteries. It's a pretty extensive article. Yep. Previously reported. This is another article I wrote. Here's the P100D, the performance, and the 100D battery. So you go through this whole story. Welcome to Nevada, Sparks, Nevada. There's a city called Sparks, and that's where they have this big gigafactory. At this point, it was under development. There's an actual sign. Yeah. Lithium. It's the third element on the periodic table. There's a picture of crystalline lithium, the crystalline platform. There's the motor drive unit with a two-wheel, drives off the back wheels. It's not four-wheel drive. There's like a schematic diagram of, the battery and the charger. And when you plug in your car, there's actually two chargers in the car. There's an article I wrote before that article. They're all strung across here. And there's the top 10 most expensive gas prices, September 2014. Yep. The range is $4.21 a gallon to $3.52 a gallon in all these different cities: California, Connecticut, Washington, so forth. You hit donate. You can send me money if you like my stories. So, I picked up these graphics and threw them in there. It makes for an interesting way to read an article when you got the graphic, right opposite, these paragraphs. So this is a breakdown of, if you got $3.25 per gallon, that equates to 13.5 cents a mile. So I made up this whole table of values. So if you got $4 a gallon gasoline, that's 16.7 cents per mile driven. I'm going to do a print screen on this. There we go. Save that to my photo album so I can talk about this. Took a little time to create that, so hit done. Save the photos. There we go, that's in my photo album now. That little table. See, FPL charging 9.338 cents per kilowatt. Every 1,000 watts, they charge you 9 cents. This is how the 9 cents is driven. Yeah, you got the storm charge, the customer charge, the gross receipts tax. And here's all the different pieces of the pie that FPL experiences in operating. So now here's a Tesla battery. And at 14 cents a kilowatt, there's $5.20 a mile to drive. Right there. Touch this. There we go. There we go. Done. Save the photos. Yep. So one is gasoline, and this one is the price per kilowatt. think Florida's averaging around 14 cents a kilowatt now. So that's roughly 5 cents a mile for if you're driving an electric car, whereas if you're driving a gasoline car, it's 17 cents. So 5 cents as opposed to 17 cents. I'm rounding. Yeah. That's it. 12 cents a kilowatt. So 4.46. Let's just say 5 cents a mile. Rounding up. Yeah. Here's another factoid. I should have captured that too. Yeah. There we go. Let's do another print screen. Excuse me a minute. All right. I just want it. We have 99 nuclear-powered reactors in 30 states. We have 557 coal-powered electric power plants. They're powered by coal. We have 2,540 hydroelectric power dams. 2,500 of them. Wow. And we've got 7,304 natural gas powered electric power plants. That's as of when this article was written, 7 years ago. They had the Model S, and then they came out with the Model X. They only had two, 7, 8 years ago, they just had two models that you could buy. And they were, anyway, I'll get out of here. And they were expensive. So there you go. Shrink that up. See, here's the articles I saved in my photo album. So that's how much it costs, so you can go down, move your finger down on the left side here. And if you're paying $3.75 a gallon, that's 15.6 cents per mile. And I'm assuming, your ICE engine runs at 24 miles per gallon. And that's how this computes out. $5 gasoline is 20 cents a mile. $4 gasoline is 16 cents. I just went down, I kept on increasing the price of the fuel by 25 cents a gallon. So the chart goes from $2 a gallon to $6 a gallon. We're crowding $4, so Trump, will get it $4 to $3. That brings it down to 12.5 cents a mile. Electric is, here's the electric one. So with a battery, we're running, FPNO is running somewhere between 12 and 14 cents per kilowatt. So let's just say 13 cents. $4, 4.8 cents per mile. 4 or 5 cents a mile. Whereas gasoline is 15 cents a mile. So 5 cents to 15 cents. It's 3 times more expensive. 300% more expensive to use gasoline instead of electricity. So it's a lot more efficient with regard to your dollars, you know. So you go to fill up your tank, you know, it's costing you a lot of money to drive a gasoline engine car as opposed to a battery car, which is under 5 cents a mile. Just say 5 cents a mile, and this is like 15 cents a mile. Averaging down to like $3.60 a gallon. That's probably a good average today. We hadn't been to a gas station in 4 or 5 years because we've been driving Tesla. A big difference. $0.08, $0.12. Yeah. Electric is, amazing. So, 9 cents. So it's about a half a cent a mile. The electricity cost went down to 8 cents a kilowatt. Then it'd be like $3 cents a mile. So right now it's about 5 cents a mile. At the writing of this article, it is currently 12 cents per kilowatt. So you can just move your finger right across, 4.5 cents a mile to drive the Tesla. And there's relatively no maintenance. My first 3-year lease, in that 3 years, we had no service appointments, no oil changes, no filter changes, nothing to do. I actually drove into a Tesla service station in Delray, and I got out of the car and chatted with the service people there at the desk, and I said, so what's up with servicing this car? I've driven it for 2 years. I've got 10,000 miles on the car, and I don't get any lights that come on to say come into service to do things. So I guess I just don't come unless the car tells me to come. He said, that's right. We are like the Maytag repair people. There's not a lot to do. And occasionally we get a car that comes in because this or that isn't working right. There could be operator error, a setting on the screen that was not done properly, or there's a warranty replacement. But, there's not a lot. You got 2 electric motors, no transmission. There's no oil. There's no gasoline, there's no oil, there's no filters, there's no fuel filters. All the things that you have to do to service, that hot gasoline engine that's up front. With a Tesla, you got 2 motors, one in the front, one in the rear. No transmission. There's a gear reduction of 10-to-1 from the motor to the axle that connects the 2 wheels up front, for example. And same thing with the rear motor, the 10-to-1 gear reduction to rotate the wheels. So It's amazing. No service. I didn't need to change the tires. You know, we don't whip around turns real hard. Some people accelerate into a turn. I accelerate out of a turn. So we basically brake and coast into the turn. And then when I'm turning the wheel, back to go straight, that's when you press on the accelerator. So we are very happy to drive. There you go. Our electric powered. We have a plug right in our garage. Just plug that puppy in, and overnight you got a fill up. No gas, no oil, no mess. You got to unplug the plug and, throw the charging wire in the back of your car. Takes, usually 6 hours to fill up the car with a 230 volt, 30 amp circuit. Yeah. All right, folks. It's fun going to that article that I wrote. See, I did print screens, so I've got the graphics right here, which I'll tell folks about this tomorrow also. Yeah, there's a complete chart. You can do a print screen on your, computer. There you go. That's full screen now on your. So you can do a print screen on that, and then I'll wait a couple seconds so you can get done with that. And then there's a print screen for the different price per kilowatt. I think Florida, you're right in the middle of the pack there at 12 cents a kilowatt hour. That's 4.5 cents a mile. If you're in an area where it's 15 cents or 4 cents a kilowatt, 14 cents a kilowatt, that's five, you're getting into 5 cents a mile. And if you have a 16, like in California, you might have 16 cents a kilowatt, and that's about 6 cents a mile to drive electric. But if you compare that to, so you might be paying $5.75 to $6. Because in California, you have a pretty hefty state tax on gasoline. It's over $1 a gallon. So it pushes up the price in California a lot higher. So it's like 24. So you're about 24 cents a mile to drive. A 24 mile per gallon engine. 25 cents a mile, as opposed to 5 cents a mile. That's 5 times. That's a pretty big, and the electric cars are like rocket engines. You step on that accelerator, Whew, that baby flies. There's not many cars that can beat it. I mean, I'm not like a drag racer type guy, but you see all these fancy cars. The Mercedes or BMW, the Lexus leaves it in the dust. Yeah, you shove down that accelerator pedal. There's no shifting of gears. It flies. You're up to 60 miles an hour in a few seconds. So if you're just on a regular street, you're breaking the speed limit in 2 seconds. I mean, literally 2 seconds. Yeah, I mean, I tried it out on like the up ramp getting on 95, and this particular up ramp, around Deerfield Beach, a long, uphill ramp, and the ramp was clear. There wasn't anybody but me, and nobody behind me. So I slowed down to near a stop, and I looked over to the dealership, the sales guy, and I said, "You mind if I push down on this accelerator pedal pretty hard?" He said, "Go, have at it." I did it. It just went. It was straight as a rocket, and I got up to 70 miles an hour in a few seconds. I said, "Holy crap!" You got to put your head back on the headrest, or when I accelerate, it'll slam your head back on the head. Folks, will you gently sit back and put your head against the headrest while I accelerate? I mean, it's like blast off. Unbelievable. And there's no whining. It's all silent. It's silent power. That's another stunning thing. The power is silent. You don't hear a lot of whining and screaming out of the engine because these two electric motors perform a very high power at very low speeds. So you jam on that accelerator pedal, and all of a sudden you're just going faster. There's no sparks. There's no noise. You just hear the gentle music coming out of your sound system in the car, whatever you're listening to. And with the latest update, by the way, with your Tesla cars and with your app, you want to make sure you have the most current app from the App Store for the Tesla car, because they've upgraded that app a few days ago. So you end up, let's see if I can show it to you here. Let me look at it here. Sirius XM radio is now available, in your car. So if you're paying the $10 a month, for your traffic updates on the map in the car mapping system, so when you touch on your radio, there'll be a Sirius XM radio logo, big blue S as part of the icon. And you can touch on that, and you can get all your news and music and so forth right from your Sirius account, which I have. So I can get Sirius, on my iPads here. I'll show you on the screen here. So from this position right here, you pull down right from the middle of the screen, and you just type S. Sirius, that's how you spell it. Sirius XM. There it is. See the big S, which is XM radio. Let me touch that. Now I'm loading. Yeah. I bend down to get the Face ID. So here you go. I can listen to all these different things. I press around here.
Mr. Kennedy, for being here this morning. And I think that, Mr. Chairman, we are truly through the looking glass this morning here in the U.S. Senate, and this committee is being asked to fulfill a really important responsibility, which is to decide whether to confirm Mr. Kennedy to one of the most important health care jobs in America. And the reason I think it's so important is for many of the reasons you said in your opening statement, which is that we live in the richest country in the world, and we have some of the worst health outcomes of any industrialized country in the world. We live in the richest country in the world, and we have some of the lowest life expectancy rates of anybody in the industrialized world. I was a school superintendent before I was in this job, Mr. Chairman, and I can tell you that Mr. Kennedy's right, that when I look at the kids in the Denver public schools, if we don't change the way we eat in this country, 40% of them are going to suffer adult diabetes as a result of their diet. These are, and we're, as I said, spending more than any other country in the world, and our families every.
Let you know that Sirius Radio is available on your Tesla cars, all Tesla vehicles. And I'll put this back on. There we go. I am the producer, I'm the director, I am the talent, in quotes, on this broadcast. Here's anyway, so there we go. Yeah, all right. There we go. Well, add me. There we go. I'm over here on the right side. And the XM radio is over here on the left, which I paused. And now I'm going to just get out of that. And anyway, go back to these photos. Anyway, so I think I'm about done for today. We have a lot of, so this JFK hearing is pretty important. A lot of stuff that he's said over the years, and these senators are going to be drilling him on, well, what did you mean by this, and what did you mean by that? And JFK is just sitting there listening. I'm looking over here at this delayed broadcast up in that little corner. Yeah. Keep up with the Joneses. All right, it's 10:51 in the morning. It's Wednesday. I got to get ready for my doctor's appointment tomorrow at 9:30 in the morning. That's a decent hour. So, I don't think Marilyn has use of the car tomorrow, so I'll drive her to work and come back here, and I'll hang around for 30 or 45 minutes and have a cup of coffee and a couple of oatmeal raisin cookies. That's my typical breakfast. I'm an aficionado of the Publix bakery oatmeal raisin cookies. You get 24 of them for, $5, round numbers. $4.85, $5.25. I guess I don't know if it's charged by the package or charged by weight. I guess all the packages are the same price of the cookies. It's good. They do a good job. And the oatmeal, they have chocolate chip, oatmeal raisin, all kinds of other cookie varieties. Yep. Gotta wash myself down for the doctor visits. My annual physical from my primary care physician, which Medicare, your insurance company, which is Cigna, and Medicare are highly interested in, the review of all your prescriptions and what do you call it? How many times a day and what's the milligrams and so forth. And I'm taking Ozempic. So with Ozempic, you really don't need insulin. And so I've lost about 20 pounds over the year. I think I was 194 when I weighed in last year. And this year, January to January, 12 months later, I'm about 170 fully dressed. So that makes me about 165. Take 5 pounds off for your clothing and your cell phone, your shoes, everything. Add it all up. Yeah. So, all right. So listen, you all have a good day. It's Wednesday is hump day, middle of the week. You only got 2 days to go for the weekend. And over the weekend, your sports will be lit up with the Super Bowl teams have been picked, and they'll be live at the stadium. I guess it's the Kingdome in New Orleans, right? Yeah, we've been in that stadium. They've added lighting. I said last time we were there, I remember the lighting was a little bit on the dim side. Didn't have enough, candle power that the TV cameras want today for the high-speed photography that's done with the network cameras. They're going to want more lumens. So I'm sure they, last year went to the stadium, said, you want to host the Super Bowl, you got to add these kind of lights. So, the NFL provides, like $500,000 or something to these stadiums to improve, the lighting or the seating or, the bathroom facilities, whatever needs to be augmented. Now they visit the stadiums, and they, each of these cities competes for the Super Bowl, years in advance. So, I know the Super Bowl's in New Orleans, and, in a year or so, you've got the Olympics going to Los Angeles, so all these cities bid you know, bid to become either a Olympic, event location, or the NFL, Super Bowl. Yeah, and I think these championship games are also. I don't know if they bid for those, but you have home field advantage, that kind of thing. So I think the stadium with the team determines the stadium. Yeah. It's the Super Bowl and the Olympics that these cities bid for. Yep. All right. On that note, we'll call it a day. And I will not be broadcasting tomorrow. Unless it's in the noon or afternoon. 9:30 appointment. I'll be driving around in the car, between 7:30 and 9. 9:30 to 10:30. Then I'll either go to the bank and she'll drive me home, or I'll just pick her up from work and drive home after my visit with the doctor. 9:30 to 10:30, so 11 o'clock I should be home. So maybe it is 11. Who knows? Maybe at 11:30 tomorrow. Right now, I'll see you Thursday for sure, and maybe around noontime tomorrow. That'll be a question mark. But you can always listen to the broadcast after the fact, either on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, or Twitter. And you can just, type in your search engine, FAU for you. And it will pick up all my broadcasts on YouTube Live or Facebook Live. And it's got to be hundreds of broadcasts over the last couple of years. Yeah, there's got to be 300 or 400. I haven't actually counted them. But it's almost every day, in the morning by 9 or 9:15. I think I was a little bit late today. May have been 9:20 today. I've been on the air an hour and 40 minutes. Yeah, it's 11 o'clock exactly right now. 11:01. It should be coming up, any second now. On this clock here, it says 11:01. There we go, 11:01. On that big clock right down there, which you can't see. I see 11:01 right here. Clock right below the on air. This microphone's right in the way. That's okay. And the clock that's normally over here isn't on because Marilyn used that iPad yesterday for her. She had, I think, a Rotary board meeting. She's on the board of the Rotary Foundation, which is, where they house a lot of money that's given to various purposes that the board decides. Charitable things, of course. All right. I'm done. I'll give you about 30 seconds of Epidemic sound instrumental or royalty-free background music to keep the streaming going. Yeah, I've got a magic formulation right now that makes sure that these live streams stay streaming, you know, like you see streaming of certain channels when you're watching your TV. This broadcast is broadcasted simultaneously on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and Twitter Live, or X, as Elon calls it, X. You should name it back to Twitter. So have a great day. Bye-bye.